Hello, Cub Run Cubs. It's baseball season. I've got my friend Camden with me, and we're big Nats fans, but we're going to go back to a baseball classic, one you've maybe heard, maybe you studied, maybe you memorized, but it's a great poem, Casey at the Bat by Ernest Lawrence Thayer. Camden and I are going to have fun sharing this with you.
The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine. That day, the score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play.
And then when Cooney died at first, and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game.
A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which sprang eternal in the human breast.
They thought if only Casey could get a whack at that, we'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat.
But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a Lulu and the latter was a cake.
So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat.
But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all. Blake, the much desired, tore the cover off the ball.
And when the dust had lifted and the men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn a huggin' third.
Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell, and it rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell.
It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat.
There was ease in Casey's matter as they stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face.
And when, responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his cap, no stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat.
10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt.
Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eye. A sneer curled Casey's lip.
And now leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty guerdon there.
Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said.
From the benches black with people where went up a muffled roar, like the beating of a storm waves on a stern and distant shore.
"Hit him! Hit the umpire!" shouted someone in the stand, and it's likely they'd have hit him had not Casey raised his hand.
With a smile on Christian cherry great Casey visage shone, he stilled the rising foam. He bade the game go on.
He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two!"
Frog cried the maddened thousands, and answered fraud, but one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed.
They saw his face grew stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. And they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again.
The sneer is gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate.
He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate.
And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go.
And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow.
Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light.
And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
Play ball.